allegiance. Okay, stand, sit. However, I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the
of
United
the
States
United States of America
and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty
liberty
and
and justice for all.
All right. So our first order of business on the agenda is the election that we postponed in January. We every year we have an election in January for 2 of the offices, and it rotates. So this year we are electing our vice chair and our secretary. So I'm going to open up, and just so everybody knows, you have to be a dues paid member to run and to vote. So I'm opening up the floor for nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Stephanie Siegel for vice chair.
Okay, Stephanie, do you accept the nomination?
She's not on.
Yeah, she's right here.
I do.
Stephanie.
I do. It took me a minute to find unmute. Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, I declare the nominations closed, and without any objection, since there is only one nominee, we will elect Stephanie Siegel as our vice chair by acclamation. Thank you, Stephanie.
All right.
And I want, Keith's not on, but I want to just take a moment to thank Keith for his 2 years of service. It's longer than that. It's 2 years of service as vice chair. He's done a lot, not only for our club, but in Pinal County to help us. And he is going to help us secure, hopefully with fingers crossed, secure the black box again to start our in-person meetings. All right, so
I just want to say, Ralph, I did see Keith this morning, about literally 12 hours ago, 6:30 in the morning. He was there for the homeless count this morning, very early.
Oh, wow.
and he's running for school board again. So Keith
Awesome.
is very active in a lot of ways. So our appreciation goes out to Keith.
And we need
So-
sane people on the school board.
Yes, we do. In all of our cities.
Mhm.
All right, so now I'm going to open up the nominations for secretary.
All
And
right, I nominate Gail Reck for secretary.
all right, Gail told me she's not on yet, but Gail told me she's willing to run again. She is our secretary, and I spoke to her yesterday, and she's willing to run. I don't know if they're having technical difficulties, but she and Noel aren't on right now. But I hope you take my word for it that I spoke to her and she's willing to do it. So do I hear a second for Gail?
I second.
Who was it?
Debbie, it was
Yep.
Debbie Burdette.
Okay. Any other nominations for secretary? Any other nominations for secretary? Any other nominations for secretary? I declare the nominations closed. And since we only have one nominee, Gail Reck, without objection, we will have Gail elected by acclamation. All right. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Stephanie. And we look forward to 2 more years of being successful with the Democrats of Casa Grande. So I'm going to move along to announcements, and there are a few. So first off, we are changing our email source. And if you know me, you know I don't know anything about that, but I'm going to ask Debbie Broom to talk to us about the change. And so far as I know, I'm the only person that wasn't able to receive the email. So Debbie and I have been goofing around. I've been calling myself a unicorn, but Debbie will explain what happened or what we're
Okay.
doing.
Betty kindly sent me the files for the whole email list, and I uploaded it to GoDaddy, which is our website, server, and where we can do all kinds of things like send newsletters and stuff like that. But for some reason, and I sent a newsletter out on the 21st, almost everybody got it. And I don't know what the problem is, but there's a glitch somewhere, either in the classification of the emails. I haven't figured it out quite yet, but Debbie Burdette, did you find that one, or did you still not get it?
I did not get it.
Okay.
Not alone.
So you're not alone. You're not a unicorn. I'm sorry, but Debbie and you didn't get it. I
So
still
Debbie, does GoDaddy have a thing where you can only send a certain number? Because I know Yahoo has that. Like they will send out the first 50. Does GoDaddy?
No, I sent it, and it said that I sent 396 emails and 396 were accepted.
Oh.
So, I don't know why some people haven't received theirs, but I'm still playing with it, because honestly, I have another email account that I sent it to also, and I didn't get it in that email account. So there's some little glitch, but please check your spam folder, your promotions folder, your social, any other. If you don't get a thing to advise you of the next meeting by next month, although I'll be sending out little bulletins now and then, but if you don't get the thing that mentions a meeting by next month, well, Betty's going to send that out anyway, but please, if you don't get anything from me like in 2 weeks, please let Ralph know or me know, and I'll put you on the list of people who aren't getting their things, and I have to ask GoDaddy why that's happening.
So Betty and Nanette, can you send out something? Not immediately, but can you send out something letting people know that there's a change?
Yes, yes, I'll get that out.
Okay, great. All right, so we did last Saturday our petition-a-thon over at Pert Park in Casa Grande, and we didn't get a lot of people that just showed up. I'll be the first to admit that, but we did have some, especially later on. A couple of people came by, so we're doing it again. And I want to thank Lauren, who you're going to hear from tonight. Lauren came out and spent time with us, and Lauren, that was great for a candidate to come out and be there on a Saturday morning. We really appreciated having you with us. That was really nice. So we're going to still be out there. We're going to collect petition signatures for Democratic candidates, for ballot initiatives, Stop Dark Money, and Healthcare Rising, which you'll hear about in more detail tonight. And as a special treat, and pass this along, we want everybody to know this, Tom O'Halloran is going to join us. So Tom's going to be out there Saturday. He's not going to be there when we start out, but as we wind down in the day, Tom is going to show up, and you have a chance to meet him, shake his hand, thank him for all he's done for CD1, and let him know that we've got his back and helping him get reelected. So that is 11 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. Pert Park in Casa Grande. It's on Florence, right near the Dairy Queen. There's also a Tom O'Halloran fundraiser later on in the afternoon. I didn't print up the flyer, but James is going to take a minute or two later on in the program to give us the information on that, the address and stuff. I believe it's up in Gold Canyon. Might be at Roberto Ravella's house, but nevertheless, there's a fundraiser for Tom. You may remember back before COVID, we used to have a Pinell County Fair that took place. They're going to do it again. And so the Pinell County Fair is going to be March 16th through the 22nd. The Democrats, Pinell County Democrats, have arranged to get a table. And our club has always helped with staffing that table. We're going to have candidate petitions. Hopefully some candidates come out and join us, which has been the case in the past. Our presence there is really important. I can't stress this enough because the Republicans are there. They always have a table. We need every opportunity, and that's why this petition-a-thon, when people drive by and see us out there on the street, they may not stop, but they see that we're there. When the county fair comes up, we'll have a table, our banners, they'll see we're there. People need to know that the Democratic Party is alive and active in Pinell County. It's very important. So I'll get more information out about that. If you can do a shift for an hour or two at the table, that will be very appreciated.
Ralph, what were the dates on that again?
The March 16th through the 22nd. Typically, we don't stay open on Sunday. We usually close down on Saturday. So really the 16th through the 21st.
Okay.
All right. So our next meeting, and I'll mention this again, is March 24th. And the plan is to be in person back at the Black Box. So unless there's another variant that springs up, we're going to do our best to meet in person. And that gives us a better chance to sell these T-shirts and hats that Stephanie has on. And then, so when you see these in person, you're going to say, wow, I want one of those. So we're still selling them. We still have some left. They're $20 each, or a shirt and a hat combo for $35.
Ralph, are you still going to do Zoom?
No, we might do Zoom for like an executive board meeting, steering committee meeting, but not, if we go to in-person, we won't do Zoom for our regular meetings.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to make it.
I was going to
Understand.
ask Ralph if we could maybe revisit that and see if we could possibly, have in person, but offer Zoom, because
well-
they're still saying that immunocompromised people still have to avoid gatherings.
So could we do Zoom from the live meeting and have
That's
people join?
what
There's
I-
equipment that we don't have. Yeah,
Oh,
that I think the county office has that equipment, but
all right. Well, we'll
Yeah.
look into it. If we can possibly do a joint thing like that,
or
we
even
will.
Facebook Live or one of
Right.
those options.
Yeah.
that-
Okay.
Okay.
I will
I-
have to
I-
have a Zoom meeting. I'd have to be there for Zoom too, because I'll be
Okay.
gone.
All right. So yeah, we'll try to do that for those that won't be able to be with us. So coming up in April is Earth Day. And as you may remember, we have a stretch of Jimmy Kerr Road that is Democrats of Casa Grande cleanup responsibility. We did it once, and we have a sign up on the road, thanks to Noel Rec for getting that arranged, and we've got a sign up there. So we are going to be doing that again. We will have a date and a time out to you when we're getting ready to do it. So I think I've gone through all of my announcements. Anyone else have an announcement they want to share with us? Okay. So as I said, when we were out there this past Saturday at Perk Park, Lauren Kuby showed up, and again, kudos for a statewide candidate coming out to spend some time. I know those of us that were there appreciated you being there, Lauren. So the Arizona Corporation Commission, I'm not going to go into detail, but the Arizona Corporation Commission is the most poorly kept secret in the state. It's the fourth leg of the government. People who use any utility, gas, electric, regardless, we depend on a Arizona Corporation Commission with commissioners of integrity and doing what they can to help the working families of Arizona. We don't want commissioners that are in the pocket of the monopolies. That's what's happened in the past. There's been a lot of money spent to elect Republicans to this commission and drive Democrats away. In the last election, in 2018, we elected Sandra Kennedy. Just that one Democrat on the commission made a huge difference. They had to open their books. They had to answer questions. We now have two. We have Sandra Kennedy and Anna Tovar. Sandra Kennedy's up for re-election, and we need to get another Democrat on there. And I know who we're going to get. We're going to get Lauren Kuby, and she's going to tell us how we can help her get elected. Lauren, it's all yours.
Thanks so much, Ralph. Could you let me share the screen?
I can do that. Let me, that'll just take me a
Thank
minute
you.
here.
Thank you. I was so pleased to show up last weekend. Been trying to get out as many places as I can in person when I can. I was out in Sun City last night.
Oh, I clicked the wrong
Oh,
person.
There we
I'm
go.
sorry.
Yeah. So I prepared, I think some of you might have seen me speak at the Pima County dinner a few months back. So I thought I'd prepare a PowerPoint. And if I could get, yeah, let's see if it's share screen.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay,
It moved before I clicked
no
it.
worries.
Okay.
I can just sort of, okay.
There we go. Okay, it should be coming your way.
It is, thank you.
Yay.
Let's see, share, and now I want to view.
Perfect.
Slideshow. Very good. So yes, Lauren Kuby, and I'm running for Arizona Corporation Commission, and not just me, it's the dynamic Democratic duo of Sandra Kennedy and Lauren Kuby. Sanders generously says, your name should go first because it's shorter, looks better on signs to have the shorter name on top. So it's going to be Kuby and Kennedy for CorpCom. We're both clean election candidates. And here you go, Sandra and I. And we are both consumer advocates. I mean, Sandra Kennedy has been fighting for Arizona ratepayers, for Arizonans, for her 2 terms on the commission, you know, separated by that term she didn't serve because the utilities spent $14 million to defeat her, and they did, but she came roaring back in 2018. And we are corporate watchdogs. We are gonna fight like hell for Arizona ratepayers and for Arizonans to bring our energy future in line with a clean energy future. And we are solar champions fundamentally. So you mentioned, Ralph, about the CorpCom being it's the most powerful branch of government that no one's ever heard of, but it's one of only 13 states that have elected commissioners. And it was established in the Constitution in 1912. And it's actually the most discussed aspect of the Constitution, whether it should be elected or appointed. And this is kind of funny when you think back about 1912, but ultimately they decided to make it elected because they were concerned that the railroad lobbyists had too much influence on the government. So times don't really change, right? Now we're worried about lobbyists from the utility industry. So you probably all know this, but just to kind of reaffirm, the commission doesn't just regulate utilities, water, electricity, gas, monopolies. That's a big deal. And it's in a way the sexiest part of the Corporation Commission. And I wish it had a different name because it sounds like like the Office of Insurance Administration. Like it's so dull, but it's so exciting. So it regulates the utilities, but also it incorporates companies. It regulates investments, pipeline safety, railroad crossings. You cross a railroad track, the Corporation Commission impacts you. You flip on a light switch, you're impacted. If you drink a cold beer in the summer and take a hot shower, you're impacted by the Corporation Commission. And it has legislative, judicial, and I would also argue executive roles in creating rules for the utilities. And it's been a commission that frankly, my running mate, Sandra Kennedy, has called the Corruption Commission because the regulated have been handpicking the regulators for so many years, and not just during the election season, but with ex parte communication and some really egregious errors in trying to reach out, corporate interests reaching out to the corporation commissioners during hearing time. So that's not good. I don't think any Arizonan, Republican, Democrat, or independent likes to see that kind of thing happening. And the commission has the only authority, and this is established in the Constitution, to set rates. No matter the utility, they get to set the rates, except for SRP. Now, meet me. I'm a 2-term council member in Tempe, serving out my 2nd term, where I've led on climate action and renewable energy adoption. We have a 100% goal in our city, but we haven't gone very far with it. And that's one of the reasons I'm running, because even though we adopted a 100% renewable energy goal, it's been really hard to get there because we basically have utilities not wanting to play. They're not incentivized to play. But I helped to created Tempe Sustainability Commission, which is made up of residents and business owners and faith-based groups, but it's a group of people that help advise us. And they quickly advise us, we need to have an executive director over sustainability, and they need to be in the city manager's office to be empowered. So we established the commission, we established that office. Over $2.5 million of grants have poured in because Tempe is leading the way, and we have this connection with ASU that's enabled us to get a lot of grants and do some really creative, innovative projects. And I've also worked a lot on equal pay and worker protection. And I spearheaded this dark money initiative that indirectly led me to run for the Corporation Commission. But I've been very focused on campaign finance reform, because one of the areas that actually the legislature couldn't restrict, they couldn't overturn our laws based on Supreme Court saying that we have the right to regulate the method and manner of our elections, right? And so I spearheaded an initiative to get dark money out of Tempe politics. And this is the very same initiative that's being proposed statewide that Terry Goddard is leading. And it passed by 91.44% of the vote. Now, when Terry Goddard heard this, he said, wow, you get more votes than Putin. Like, that's incredible. It's like, you can be a Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green, Libertarian. People have a right to know who's influencing their elections, and they have a right to know that. And that's fundamental. And it doesn't contradict Citizens United. We have a right to know who's trying to speak up and influence us. So in City Council, I also created the nation's first Family Justice Commission. So instead of going to the police department when you have a criminal complaint about rape or domestic assault or sexual violence or human trafficking, you go to the center that will greet you in a warm way, that you don't have to be in an institutional atmosphere, but you can get the help and services that you need, and the examinations, medical examinations that you need, but in a setting that's much more supportive of you as a survivor. I'm proud of that. And so that's my work in the Tempe City Council. I could go on and on, won't bore you, but I'm also a sustainability scientist at ASU for the past 25 years. I've been a sustainability scientist, and I lead right now the Stardust Center for Affordable Homes and the Family, which focuses on housing insecurity and building capacity in cities to build affordable housing, but it also takes in all what we call the social determinants of health, not to get too wonky, but it's food access, healthcare access to education, access to shade and transportation, all those factors that really influence whether a family is healthy and strong and whether a community is healthy and strong. And of course, utilities play a role in that, because if you can't afford to pay your utilities, or if you're choosing between taking care of your family and feeding them and your air conditioning bill, you're going to have to choose, taking care of, feeding your family. So there's a lot of impacts that utilities can have on a family's budget. So where do we stand in Arizona? I contend that we are in a climate crisis. I think more and more Arizonans are understanding that. When you look at the wildfires, they're increasing in intensity and frequency, and it's going to get worse before it's going to get better, frankly. We're really in a dire situation with wildfires in the West. And not sure if you read this report just 2 days ago, but we're in a mega drought. It's the 21st year, but this is a historic mega drought. So historic, in fact, that there hasn't been a drought this bad in 1,200 years. 1,200 years. It's amazing. And so, with drought also comes flooding. It's sort of a natural kind of corollary. Almost more importantly, in some ways, we feel it every day. We don't feel the drought as much because we're going to be more and more impacted, but extreme heat impacts everyone. And I think in 2020, there were 53 days where we had temperatures exceeding 110. And that's not thought to be an outlier. We're going to see that more and more. We're going to see more and more days of extreme heat. And there's health impacts, there's economic impacts that are really crippling, that could cripple our economy. So I think it's safe to say we have a climate crisis. We have a voting rights crisis fundamentally, but we have a climate crisis as well. And with crisis, as Winston Churchill used to say, I wish I could do my Winston Churchill impression. I should put on a cap, like a bald cap or something and do it. But with crisis comes opportunity. And that opportunity is seen in the fact that the Center for the Future of Arizona, run by Laddie Kaur, former ASU president, they did a very thorough survey of all these issues related that are interrelated in Arizona, and found that 74% of Arizonans want to see a clean energy transition. You think about our elected officials, do they necessarily represent the people in that issue? I think not. I don't think they're doing their job. And I think they're very influenced by corporate contributions and contributions from APS and all the utilities. And they don't represent us. They don't represent the fact that climate is the great convener and we need to be moving forward. And it's not just for, because I love solar and I'm a tree hugger or something. It's because there's economic opportunity there. We have only, I think, 60,000 jobs relating to renewable energy in our state. We're the sunniest state in the nation, yet we don't have the most solar in the nation. Who has it? New Jersey. And we also have the highest electricity bills of any state in the Southwest. So don't let my Republican opponents mislead you. They'll say that California has the highest electric bills. It's just simply not true. It's Arizona. And there's a connection between our high electricity bills and the lack of adoption of renewable energy. We all want clean air, clean water. We all want healthy communities. Even our Republican and our independent brothers and sisters, they want clean air and clean water. And we know that we need to approach electricity and our utilities from that standpoint. So there we go. So what's at stake? As a commissioner, things aren't necessarily black and white. You're always balancing, I would say 4 elements. They're on the left side of my screen. Net zero emissions, we need to decarbonize. We need to decarbonize rapidly. We need to balance equity and justice issues. We've been taking so much from the Navajo Nation and the Hopi Nation, developing Tucson, developing Phoenix, developing our cities and towns. A third of the Navajo Nation, no running water. 71% of the Navajo Nation is unelectrified. And that's the largest percentage of any area in the country. Like, that's a stain upon our state, right? We need to really bring a just transition to the Navajo Nation. It's called a just and equitable transition. But we also need to balance affordability, and that comes with renewable energy adoption. Don't let the Republicans tell you differently. And reliability. We always need to be reliable in delivery of our utilities. And again, don't let my Republican opponents mislead you. Adoption of solar leads to more resilience in the system. Moving away from gas leads to more resilience in the system. We've seen gas prices spike to incredible highs, not just because of what's happening in the Ukraine, but we see incredible costs associated with gas pipelines and the impact of climate change on gas pipelines. So recently, last month, the Arizona Corporation Commission were reviewing rules. They've been developing over 2 years. And Anna Tovar and Sandra, they are my champions. They are our champions. They negotiated a compromise with Jim O'Connor, Republican. It was a surprise to everyone, but that shows you how powerful these 2 women are. And they adjusted their renewable energy goal. It was going to be by 2050, but 100% standard by 2070, right? We got agreement from Jim O'Connor at the last minute. He backed out, a carefully negotiated agreement, but he didn't hold true to his word. That's very sad. So we have a renewable energy standard of 15%, very small. We reached it a couple of years ago. No longer, we have no renewable energy standard as a state. We used to lead the entire country. We created, Bill Mundell and Chris Mays created the renewable energy standard. We were leaders in the country. No longer, we don't have a renewable energy standard anymore. We also let our energy efficiency standards expire. So if you look at if energy, 100% renewable energy adoption as a number, as a percentage, you can get 26% of the way there by just devoting that to energy efficiency. So utilities will have rebates on any kind of energy efficiency or water conservation practices. No longer, we let it expire in January. So the Republican commissioners, they rejected renewable energy and energy efficiency standards. Shame on them. And I won't go into a lot of detail unless you want to hear later, but there are efforts afoot in the legislature, not just to restrict the Corporation Commission, but to decide who can run for Corporation Commission. They want to limit it to someone who's involved, who's an engineer, a professional engineer, or administrative lawyer, or an accountant, or an economist. They don't want to allow someone like me to run for Corporation Commission. I think that shows that they're kind of afraid of me and afraid of Sandra, but it's palpably absurd because we don't have requirements for the legislature and their candidates, maybe we should require that they pass a basic civics exam. I don't know. But to me, this is a power grab brought by the utilities. They want to see the Corporation Commission become shills for the energy companies and the utilities, the gas and water utilities. So another thing that's at stake, as I mentioned, is a just and equitable transition for our communities across Arizona, not just the Navajo Nation, not just the Hopi Nation, but rural communities that have been based on coal. And as we shut down coal power plants, which we should do, we need to invest in those communities and have the utilities invest in those communities to give back, so they have running water, so they have power, they have economic opportunity that's resident-led. And basically, we need to have a commission that will have fair rates, affordable rates for our ratepayers, and that hasn't necessarily been the case in the past. How can you help? Well, I'm really proud to say, of all the candidates running for, Attorney General, Governor, Corporation Commission, I'm the first to qualify. I qualified in January because you can tell I'm a competitive person. I'm intense, but I get out there. I am a really hard worker. I go everywhere, and I got my signatures. I got my 5s. I got my seed money, all the time helping Sandra, but Sandra still needs her seed money. She still needs some 5s and petitions. She's getting close. She's probably going to qualify in like 3 weeks' time. So I'm out every weekend getting signatures for her in 5s. And you can go to Sandra's website, reelectkennedy.com, or you can go there to that site. I'll also put it in the chat so it's easier to link to. And give Sandra a 5 tonight because she needs your help. She's almost there. But I would ask you to share my posts if you see them on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. We're going to try and have a lot of short, pithy statements about, like, what is the Corporation Commission? It's the most powerful office no one ever knew about. And what is at stake here? Because we know it's a down ballot race. We know that Democrats sometimes aren't religious in voting all the way down the ballot. So we're encouraging, Sandra and I are united in this as we combine our campaigns. We're encouraging people, like, flip the ballot over, bottoms up, start with school board. We know how important our school board members are. Start with school board and bottoms up, vote down the ballot. Make sure you vote, because this commission has the opportunity to be the most powerful commission in the country and change Arizona's energy future. And I will wake up every day representing the residents of Arizona, looking for fair rates, for affordable rates, and for the transition to a clean energy economy that must happen if we are to survive. And I'd love to take your questions, and so happy to be here tonight. How long did I go? I should time.
Yeah, no, you did great. About under 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll shorten it.
Yeah, so no, you did fine. Are there any questions? You packed a lot in there, Lauren, and if people don't know what the Arizona Corporation Commission is, they don't know what the Arizona Corporation Commission is. There is so much that impacts our daily lives, and people need to get that message. So we will certainly do what we can to amplify all you're putting out. And again, we'll have Sandra's petitions and $5 forms available on Saturday. We turned some into Lauren last Saturday that we collected. So we want to continue to do that. Use the website if you haven't done it already. Sign Sandra's petition, get a 5, and congratulations to you, Lauren, for being so quick and getting yours done so early. Are there any questions for Lauren?
I just want to say, Eric pointed out that the Equal Petition website is only open till March 5th. So we really need to push for people to do that ASAP. As we're
statewide candidates as well as legislative candidates. Because statewide, it's been really smooth and functioning. I know it's been really a horror show for legislative, but is that true for statewide candidates too?
So they're shutting it down to upgrade all of the changes from redistricting. It'll open again, but it'll be down. So as far as the information about online petitions and 5s for Sandra, Debbie, can you get that out in one of your blasts so that everybody can see that again? And that's for all candidates to go to the Secretary of State's website and sign their petitions. So we'll get
Right.
that out again to our list.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I just want to give some feedback. Lauren, I really like the idea that you're going to be doing kind of short blurbs that can be retweeted or reposted to help people understand what the Corporation Commission is. But the one thing I always get people interested in is APS. There seems to be just a general hatred for APS. That's kind of how I
Right.
hook people into it. But I really like that you're going to be doing some like little educational bits on that on social media.
Yeah, like the Katie Porter style whiteboards. And I want to really inject humor into it to get people's attention, because really here, Arizona Corporation Commission, you think someone's going to sell you insurance and it's like, you want to fall asleep. But, you know, it's incredibly exciting race, but you know, I'm doing this because, you know, it's a down ballot race. I know it's going to be tough. I'm going to be everywhere like Beto or Rourke, except I'm going to win, and Beto is going to win, by the way. But you know, Beto was known for traveling to every county. I really want to be out there. My job at ASU has been full time. I'm going half-time because I need to devote more time to the campaign, and I really want to travel the length and breadth of the state. And we got to get the message out there, because it's. And I think past Corporation Commission races, they failed in kind of uniting. And Sandra and I are old friends. We're going to combine our resources. So our 200,000 of clean elections money, each 400,000. And we're going to have the same, you know, we're going to have QB and Kennedy signs. We're going to be up there in Northeast Arizona too. We're not going to ignore the rural areas. And so I hope that we'll correct the mistakes of the past, which has been like, to run as an individual doesn't make sense. We need to run as a team.
Yeah, and when you do get signs, make sure you let us know.
Yeah.
We've got what we call the old guys sign crew that we go out and put up signs. So we did it. We had a lot of Bill Mundell signs all over the
Yay.
Casa Grande, Eloy, and Arizona City area last time. So Kubi
So I
and
love
Kennedy signs will
when I-
go.
When I was running for a city council, I loved sign night. We would start like at 7 o'clock and have pasta. And then I get like 50 people and we'd have all these trucks. And then my friend Kevin would do the St. Crispin's Day speech, like inspiring everybody about how wake up the next morning and signs are going to be everywhere, like at every, you know, and it was really fun. And we really got into it.
Well, we will help.
Uh,
All right.
I always tell everybody that the Corporation Commission is the way to get your foot in the door when you're going door to door, because you can always say,
Ah.
if they don't want to talk to you, you can say, well, we're just gonna, do you know what the Arizona Corporation Commission is? And they always say no. And you
Yeah.
say, well, they set your electricity rates, and then they want to listen to everything you have to say. It's the best.
Absolutely.
It's the absolute
And
best.
then I know that if you go to the U.S. Office of Energy Administration, again, like going into the weeds, but we have the highest electricity bills of any of the Southwestern states. The Republicans are always using California as the boogeyman. Like, we don't want to be like California. It's like, well, California's electricity bills are less than ours. So there's something to be said.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. You're welcome to stay, but we know you're a candidate. You've got things to do. So thanks for being with us last Saturday and tonight.
Thanks. I think I'm going to take off because my family knocked on the door and they have dinner ready and I haven't.
All right. Enjoy.
Okay. Thank you, guys. It's great to see you all. I hope to see you in person soon.
All right. I asked Debbie, she does have a flyer. Debbie, can you put that flyer up for Tom's? I put the address in the chat for Tom's fundraiser. If Debbie can put that flyer up real quick. There it is. So Debbie did send that out, and the information's available right there. It's at Roberto's house. And, you know, with these suggested contribution levels, they're not going to make you pay that at the door. Don't worry about it. If you're able to get there and go, and if you grab an envelope and put something in it, they appreciate any amount you can give them. And if you can't afford to make a donation at this time, show up anyway if you're in the area. All right, thank you. So right now we are going to hear from Amanda Villa, who's going to talk to us about healthcare rising, and this is a petition drive also to get on the ballot for 2020. So this is another one of those very important issues that we need to know about and support. So Amanda, if you would unmute yourself and take it away.
Yes, hello. I will apologize really quick. I have a puppy. He's getting a little antsy, so if he starts crying, I might jump off really quick to just let him deal. Betty, do I have sharing permissions?
Yes, let me get that set for you.
Thank you.
I gotta find you.
And while she's doing that, for those who may not have met me, I know I see some familiar faces here. My name is Amanda. I'm with Healthcare Rising Arizona. I'm also currently an appointed PC out here in the middle of nowhere, Red Rock. So working to get those signatures handled quickly so I can get them turned in time, so I can be an elected PC. I'm born and raised in Arizona. I'm originally from Tombstone. I've been with Healthcare Rising Arizona for the last 2 years, and I've worked on probably around 10 campaigns, varying between ballot initiatives and a few candidate races. So that's the quick Amanda intro. So Healthcare Rising Arizona. If you are not familiar with us, we are a membership organization of everyday Arizonans. So we're patients, caregivers, friends, family, neighbors, folks who are really just care and dedicated to improving our standard of health and living here in the state. So I wanted to talk a little bit about medical debt and how that happens and what it looks like for folks here. So if you're unfamiliar with medical debt, basically what happens is a medical provider doesn't receive their payment in the time that they require, and they decide to enlist a debt collector. That debt collector can then choose to take an individual to court. If you, for example, don't show up at court, or you do show up at court, they can rule against you. And there's a number of different ways now that the debt collector has the ability to collect on that debt. One of the most common ones, especially in Arizona, is wage garnishment. So money taken directly out of your paycheck. They can also seize your refunds from your taxes. They can take homes, cars, belongings, and things like that. So it's pretty crazy and not the best place to be. And I wanted to share a couple of real life stories with you guys, because there's a lot of common misconceptions around medical debt as well, right? So the first story I'll share is for Miss Leslie Harris. She's the lovely lady in blue here. Leslie is in Sun Lakes, Arizona, in the Phoenix area, and several years back, her husband Mac was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer. Unfortunately, the normal treatments weren't working, and so they decided to take a chance on a treatment that was not fully FDA approved. So their Medicare and supplements didn't support that, right? Wouldn't pay for that. So they ended up with $80,000 in medical debt. Happy ending though, Mac is still with us. Last year when I met Leslie, she and Mac had just adopted these 2 really cute Jack Russell Terrier puppies who are still running amok in their house. But $80,000 is a chunk. And so they are both in their mid-70s. Leslie is 75, and she still works 6 days a week, just chugging along to pay those bills off. They even sold a home and downgraded to a smaller home so that they could live a little bit more affordably and pay more towards those bills. The other woman down here in the purple shirt, this is Shannon Gutchess. Shannon is another member and leader with Healthcare Rising. She's in Santan Valley, so not too far from us. Shannon suffers from grand mal seizures, and her seizures are medication resistant. So that means every 6 months to a year or so, Shannon has to start a new medication to manage her seizures, which is very problematic because it's not good for you to be on all these different medications all the time. Plus, it takes time for them to kick in and actually work to prevent the seizures. So several years back, she decided to have a vagus nerve stimulator implanted. So she had brain surgery to implant this device in the hopes that it would get her off medications and manage her seizures better. In the process of fine-tuning this device, to her body and her seizures, she found out that her insurance didn't cover those visits. And so she was paying $600 every single time she had to have this device tuned, which was every couple of weeks. And after about a year of advocating for herself, her doctor advocating for her and writing letters, they couldn't get any of that cost covered or taken care of completely. So she ended up making the difficult decision to have the nerve stimulator turned off, which means she had to just work backwards basically and slowly tune it down so it could eventually be turned off. She accumulated over $30,000 of debt during that time, which she is still working to pay off. So these are the types of things that, you know, we all hope don't happen to us, but chronic illness or something like cancer, right, can really just, you know, even with insurance, make a huge impact in your medical bills and how you live in your life. So we know that medical debt is the #1 reason that folks file for bankruptcy in the United States. 30% of Arizonans have medical debt in collections. And if you look at our communities of color, that percentage jumps up to 45%. 3 in 4 Americans owe more than $2,000 in medical debt, and 2/3 of people who have medical bill problems attribute those to one-time medical expenses. So a trip to the ER. So, you know, chronic disease or sudden medical illness, even when insured, can cost families tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket. And we believe that no one should have to worry about losing their car or their house because they have a medical emergency. And I'd like to play this clip here. Let me stop sharing my screen really quick so I can make sure that I get you guys sound. And this is our launch video for the Protection from Predatory Debt Collection Act.
What if you spend a night in the hospital and can't afford it? What if you lose your job and can't cover your rent? What if you fall behind on one bill just one time? That's when predatory debt collectors can strike, charging you outrageous interest rates, seizing your home, your car, your paycheck, trapping you in a cycle of debt where you keep paying them more. That can happen to anyone, anywhere in Arizona, even you. Even if you have health insurance, even if you try to do everything right. Today, more than 1 in 6 Arizonans have past due medical debt, a leading cause of bankruptcy in America. But here's how you can stop it, with your signature and your vote. The Predatory Debt Collection Protection Act fixes the law in Arizona so debt collectors can't destroy lives. It protects more of your property and paycheck and limits the interest rate you can be charged on medical debt. It's fair, it's important, it's common sense reform that's long overdue. Sign the petition. Let's put an end to predatory debt in Arizona. What if you spend a night in the hospital?
Play twice for you guys. Okay. So what is the Protection from Predatory Debt Collection Act? This is an initiative that is going to limit what debt collectors can garnish from disposable income like paychecks or savings accounts. This will also limit the interest rates on medical debt and collections to 3%. And increase protected property values for your homes, your vehicles, and your household goods, so they're better protected from seizure by a debt collection agency. We also, part of the work that we are currently doing with this ballot initiative is a partnership with RIP Medical Debt. If you're unfamiliar with them, they're a national organization that works to buy out unpayable medical debt for individuals who are struggling. So every valid volunteer signature we collect towards qualifying this initiative for the 2022 ballot relieves $100 of unpayable medical debt for Arizona families. So in the beginning of December, we had hit our first 10,000 in volunteer signatures, just to make that clarification, not paid signatures, volunteer signatures. And we were able to relieve about $1 million in medical debt, unpayable medical debt for Arizona families. Like this young lady in the picture, Margarita, she's a real person who received a letter in the mail before Christmas this year that said, don't worry, your medical debt has been taken care of thanks to Healthcare Rising Arizona. Like most of us, she was like, that's not real. I'm calling to find out. So she reached out and found out from RIP Medical Debt that yes, in fact, we had done the work to help them pay that debt off. And so she was good to go and enjoy your holidays. So I think that's a pretty awesome Christmas gift that we gave to a lot of Arizona families this year. So everything we do has a direct impact, even if for some reason we don't make the ballot, right? But we're going to do that. So how can y'all help, right? Grab a petition and help us collect signatures. You can collect from your friends, your family, your neighbors, your coworkers. You can join our weekly door-to-door canvasses that we do. I know Tucson might be a little bit of a trek for some folks, but we have several large events coming up here in the next few months, like the Tucson Festival of Books and the 4th Avenue Spring Street Fair that have tens of thousands of people there. So we need all the hands we can get to help us collect signatures at those events. And of course, we also have some stuff happening in Pinal County, like Ralph mentioned earlier, the Pinal County Fair. And I know that they're working to get you guys into some farmers markets and awesome stuff like that. So I'm going to pass it over to Marty so she can share about our door-to-door canvases.
Let me make sure I'm on. Okay. Last Sunday, we, well, first of all, back up Saturday, I was with my Casa Grande buds, and we were down at Pert Park collecting signatures, and we also collected signatures for the predatory debt collection. And I will be there again this coming Saturday to do it again, have my petitions ready. Sunday, we went out and canvassed in a neighborhood near my home and got more signatures. We actually got somebody that wanted to volunteer with us, so we were excited about that. A lot of friendly faces and some really good smelling cooking. Oh my God. So we want to continue to do canvassing. So I'm tentatively, you know, it looks like we're going to go out canvassing again on March 6th. I believe it's Tom from Tucson that has cut turfs for us. So we are going to basically friendly homes to collect these signatures. And we did, I mean, we had a couple people, but I mean, if you've canvassed, you've been through this. But we had far more positive experiences out canvassing door to door. Another thing, like Amanda was saying, I've talked to Ralph and he's looking into having petitions at the farmers market. So we want to be there too. And we're thinking of other places, the fair and other places as well to canvass, you know, so we can get signatures on our petition. And Saturday, there was a lady that was going by and she was in an electric wheelchair, and I kind of flagged her down and talked to her briefly about it. And, you know, she's one of these too that said that she has debt that, you know, she's struggling with. And I think she was post-stroke. I'm a former nurse, so this is kind of why I think so. I mean, she had, I believe it was left-sided weakness. And I could see, you know, she had a brace on her leg. She had her arm in a sling that she wasn't able to use. So she was working part-time at H&R Block and was so appreciative that they gave her a chance to give her a job. So you know that she's struggling to make ends meet. So I was, you know, she was very happy to sign the petition. So this happens.
Yeah.
So come join us, March 6th. Come on.
And
Yes.
I just wanna make clear, and I know Amanda mentioned this, but just so everybody understands, this is not a petition that you can do online. This is one of the strict compliance petitions. It has to be signed with a pen on the paper in person. So that's why you need to come on out this Saturday or any of the other opportunities and sign the petition.
Yes,
And we will
absolutely.
gladly take any help, going door to door too. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, I have a couple more slides.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
No, you guys are fine. I thank you, Ralph, for the clarification, and you guys are good. We are on Mobilize for everybody. So I will throw the Mobilize link up in the chat. You guys can check that out and see what other stuff is happening. If you are somebody who is not out and about because you are still being safe and staying home, we totally get that. You can still help us out. So as I mentioned before, Healthcare Rising is a membership organization. So joining our monthly giving program or giving a contribution one time also really helps us out. Ballot initiatives cost money, and it's a good cause. So you can always go to healthcarerisingaz.org. There's a button at the top of the page to contribute. If you do make a contribution, please reach out. Let me know that you're part of the team. I've got some awesome swag that I would love to give to you. I don't know that Eric's on camera, but he did message me and say he's wearing his Healthcare Rising shirt. So we can definitely get you some swag. We have all kinds of goodies. Another thing that you can do is help me to build my network. So if you have folks who want to get involved or who may be connected to another group or organization who would be interested in hearing about this and helping us out, please let me know. I'm so happy to reach out and share with them as well. So last but certainly not least, let's connect. I will throw my info with the Mobilize link in the chat for you all, and please feel free to reach out at any time with questions. I will definitely get back to you, okay?
And just real quick, Roger has invited us to the Ropes and Ranch Democrats meeting, and I believe that's March 1st. I think
That's
we're
correct.
still on. Okay. So
And we'll get the information up on our website as well. I think it might be there already, but I'm sure we'll get it up there if it's not.
Okay, Ralph, I have a question. Do you remember several years ago, Ann Kirkpatrick ran against a guy who was called Payday something. He had a nickname.
Payson.
Payday Payson. Well, at the time, I was informed that Mr. Payson was an elected official and lobbying for the payday loan institutions as well. Is that legal in Arizona, that you can be an elected official and also lobby for something?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Legal?
It is. It
Okay,
might
so
be
maybe-
unethical. It might be unethical, but it is legal.
Okay, so maybe that would be something that you could address in your petition if you, or any legislation that comes up, is that you can't lobby for payday organizations or lending organizations and be an elected official. You could like single that out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would love to outlaw elected officials lobbying, period. Because we have a lot of them who are currently lobbying for charter schools and not good performing ones. So, and they're against our public educators. So love to outlaw that. But yeah, and I will mention that one of the interesting things about Arizona law currently is that medical debt is not specifically defined. So one of the nice kind of little catch-alls of our initiative is that it will work in favor of some folks who might have like credit card debt, for example, because of medications or things like that, because we are working to define medical debt specifically, but currently it is not. So when this initiative passes, if somebody paid bills with a credit card and they can't pay that credit card now, that will also be included in the limitations that we're putting on the debt collection agencies.
Okay, Amanda, I'm going to email you something because there is federal law that addresses medical debt, Hilburton. So I'll send you personal stuff
Yeah,
about
please
that.
send me, please do. I know I've had other people question, like, how is this going to impact, the surprise billing law that was passed at the federal level? My short answer to that is ultimately Arizona doesn't like to jive with what goes at the federal level. So I wouldn't be surprised that some kind of garbage legislation gets passed that undoes that or doesn't work in favor of those federal level bills. But yes, please email me any medical debt information you might have. I'm always happy to read through it and share with our crew.
All right. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Marty. Very important topic, and we will help you get the word out and help get signatures. So thanks for.
And I just want to say, this is one of those topics that does hook people in. I drove someone home today after the homeless park just so I could kind of have her attention for a little bit, invite her to come out on Saturday. And my hook was sign this petition. And then I said, while you're there, you can check out the candidate petitions and sign. So this was a great hook because everybody knows somebody that struggles with medical bills and worries
It's
about this issue.
apolitical. It's apolitical.
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
is
Transcends politics.
Absolutely. Mhm.
All right. So before I bring in James Graham, who's going to talk to us from the perspective of the DCCC, many of you have seen this already, but I just want to share this with you as a scare tactic. I'll be honest with you. This is a scare tactic. This is what happens if the Democrats lose the House of Representatives in 2022. Instead of Nancy Pelosi as the speaker, we'll have Kevin McCarthy. Instead of chairing the Intelligence Committee with Adam Schiff, we'll have Paul Gosar. Instead of Homeland Security being chaired by Benny Thompson, we'll have Andy Biggs. Instead of the Oversight Committee being chaired by Carolyn Maloney, we'll have Jim Jordan. Instead of the Judiciary chaired by Jerry Nadler, we'll have Marjorie Taylor Greene. Instead of the Science Committee chaired by Bernice Johnson, we'll have Louis Gohmert. The January 6th Select Committee will cease to exist. And any chance for passing any legislation that benefits American working families will be 100% gone. We cannot afford to lose the House of Representatives in 2022. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to James Gravitt, who's going to talk to us about what we need to do to make sure that we continue to have a majority in the House. James, unmute yourself. Oops. You have to unmute your.
I could have. 2020 just keeps biting us, right? You would think after 2 years I would have this Zoom thing down. I won't bore you with my intro, but I think that Ralph touched on some very important points, right? And I want to throw a couple local ones in here. Casa Grande is important no longer to just one district, it's important to two, right? We have to work very, very hard to ensure that our crazy state legislature, state ledge people like Walt Blackman and Kelly Townsend don't get to go to DC and be best friends and try to represent, the area of Casa Grande or the state in an improper manner. There's a lot on the line, as people in Dem Club and Democratic Party meetings quite well know. But just imagine that, to add that to the list, right? That list that Ralph shared just scares the living bejesus out of me, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, we need to start working towards talking about our Democratic candidates in both CD2 and CD6 and working towards building a electorate and the IDs and getting all this nitty-gritty stuff that people in Washington use to better shape, more effective communication to help with turnout, right? It's been a common term that has been used since the end of the last election that all voters are persuasion voters. Whether they need to be persuaded on what candidate to vote for, or whether or not they need to be persuaded to vote in a midterm. So I mean, I could go on for days and days, but at the end of the day, we need to start calling voters in your area. You know, we need to start strategizing a real game plan for once everything kicks up and all the chaos happens, right? You know, your area is going to have investments from the ADLCC, the DCCC, all the democratic institutions that operate in this state, because it's crucial. If we don't win, if we don't turn out enough voters to make sure that the indigenous communities of 14 tribes in CD2, 14 of, I believe, the 19 tribal communities in the state get fair representation again in DC, if we don't turn out enough voters to make sure that in the general election, Kelly Townsend gets handed a big fat loss by the election system that she disrespects on a daily basis, and we send the eventual Democratic candidate to Congress to help hold the House majority, we will not win statewide. That is the reality. The reality of electing the top of the ticket, whether it's federal or statewide, is that they will have to win these 2 congressional districts in your areas. That's it. That's if Coconino County doesn't show up and do its job. That's if Pima County doesn't show up and do its job. And that's if they get it wrong in Maricopa County, right? If these 2 districts don't go the way that we need, and if we don't put the work in now, that list that Ralph shared, it's guaranteed. You know, folks, we went through redistricting, right? And a lot of us weren't happy with how redistricting went. You know, we all worked hard. Many of you guys submitted multiple comments. Many of you listened to hours of testimony, listened to hours of committee meetings. But in reality, there's hope. Nationwide, we did not lose the redistricting battle like everybody thought we were going to. There's still a couple states left to go through redistricting, but even if they go the worst that they possibly can, we're still ahead of where everybody predicted us. The thing is in the Casa Grande area, you guys hold the key to making sure that you have a lasting impact on whether or not we hold the House majority this cycle. And that's just facts. Biden was delivered the White House by what states? Arizona and Georgia? Two Trump states that he flipped, right? And in that year, Arizona resent 5 Democratic congressional people to Congress. We got to do it again. We got to work hard. And, you know, my AZ06 counterpart, he wasn't able to make it tonight, John Bauer. He's got phone banks running Tuesdays and Thursdays calling folks to talk about the general election. Talk about why electing a Democrat matters. To talk about why we want to know what issues concern them. If we don't know the issues that truly concern our voters, how are the people that we are working to elect supposed to address those issues? So we're started early. We need to do this work. John and I will be working on a plan for some phone banking opportunities that will be remote over Zoom, that will focus on the greater Casa Grande area where your club kind of focuses, And we're going to do this in a manner where we're talking about the general election and supporting Democrats and the Democratic majority. So that way we don't have to worry about what precinct you're calling into, if it's a O'Halloran precinct, if it's a CD6 precinct, to kind of make the act of service a little bit easier. And I'm sorry if I came in a little hot, doom and gloom, and a little overly passionate. But, you know, I can't imagine a world in which the Republicans are the majority and Russia is still doing its shenanigans in Ukraine. I have a best friend, probably the closest thing to a brother that I ever have. And him and his family are worried that he's going to get called back into active service. And I don't trust a Republican Congress to handle, or should we say mishandle, a situation unfolding on a global scene. So I've just been giving it a lot of thought. And once Ralph, you know, highlighted that list again, it just reminded me. They would be trying to find ways in which it was a Biden scandal that what happened in Ukraine and what is unfolding in Ukraine is somehow his son's fault because they saw it on 4chan somewhere. And to me, that's appalling. Moments like this used to unite our country. It used to reinforce our ideals in American democracy. And now you have the former president sitting there saying that Putin was smart. I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop my tangent and pass it back on over to Ralph with the encouraging note is, if you want to stop this, we need to make sure that we're putting in the work and we're doing this smart, and we send Kevin McCarthy back to being minority leader in the next Congress. Ralph, take it away.
All right, thank you, James. And just, you know, I want to say this, this is the truth of it. We call this a midterm or an off-year election, but in Arizona, this isn't. We are electing a U.S. Senator. We're electing 9 congressional seats. We're electing a governor, a secretary of state, a treasurer, attorney general, Arizona Corporation Commission. This is a full-scale election in Arizona in 2022. We have been trending blue. We just need to keep that going and win this election. It's going to take hard work, but we can do it. And
Ralph?
Yeah, so I saw your chat message.
Okay.
So Noah Reck, our treasurer, wants to share something about the Pinal County Board of Supervisors meeting. Go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Our camera's not working. You know, where's a teenager when we need one? But anyway, I wanted to share some good news of what happened at the Pinal County Board of Supervisors meeting yesterday. That basically they were shamed by public comments into at least discussing some sort of statement of censure or rebuke for our out of control legislature. And that's saying something, considering that all 5 of them are Republicans and pretty hardcore Republicans. I think that they're finally seeing just how out of control these people are. And there was a call from Supervisor Kavanaugh for a audit of county expenditures, starting with the largest spender, Sheriff Lamb's office, with the thought that there may very well be some intermingling of public and political funds. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on, and your list of people is not a happy list to listen to and look at, but there is some good news. And it was sure a good thing to see them at least take these items up, particularly because you wouldn't expect that from them. So maybe they're starting to see the light.
All right, thank you, Noel. You know, there's a lot of opportunity for us to be engaged. The Board of Supervisors, and I really thank Noel for taking that on and being active in that. There's school board meetings, there's city council meetings. to the extent that we can get involved in those kinds of things and let people know, again, even if it's just the exposure that Democrats are out here, there's for city council, school board meetings, and board of supervisors, there's a call to the public where you can just say pretty much what you want, as long as you're not abusive, but pretty much say what you want for 2 or 3 minutes. And if nothing else, to say, we're Democrats, we're out here, we care about working families. Even if that's all you say, that gets the message out. So think about going to some of these meetings and being involved.
You know, and also, Ralph, I want to say, you mentioned Roberto Ravelis, and he made an excellent statement and basically called for an intervention. He said, if you're really caring about your party and your people, it's time for an intervention, that you need to call on the legislature and wake them up. And boy, what a beautiful statement he made.
Wow, cool.
He is very eloquent. There is no doubt about it. All right, so.
Can we see a video of the Board of Supervisor meeting? I know at one time you.
Yes.
That would be awesome to watch that. That might give me a little pep in my step.
Yes, yes, you just go to their site, and on the left-hand side, it says video, whatever, and then you click on that, and kind of in the middle of the screen, it says general meeting, and you click on that, and then it'll show you the dates, February 23rd, yeah.
Thank you.
Pinell County Board of Supervisors. All right. So a very informatively packed meeting tonight. Thanks to everybody who helped make it that way. I want to remind you that our next meeting is Thursday, March 24th, 6:30. We're shooting for in person, and hopefully we're going to be able to also connect via Facebook Live or whatever. We'll do all we can to make that happen. We're going to be back, if we are in person, at the Black Box Theater, the old women's club there in Old Town Casa Grande. I can't think of the address right offhand, but we'll have it posted. And our speaker will be, our main speaker will be Adrian Fontes, the Democratic candidate for Secretary of State. He'll be there to address us. Again, think about, if you haven't already, be a member. You can do that on our website, or send us a check for $20 for the year. We promise to put it to good use. We've got a lot of things coming up. The Pinell County Fair. Join us this Saturday for the petition-a-thon and shake hands with Tom O'Halloran and his fundraiser later. So we'll have plenty of things to do: phone calling, canvassing, helping get these initiatives on the ballot. Lots to do. Join us for all of it, or at least some of it. Thanks for being here, everybody. See you next time.